The HVAC Uncensored podcast is brought to you by Yellow Jacket. 66 years of expertise built into every tool. www.yellowjacket.com.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the USA.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended. Because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Kelley and Kelly McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
What up, what up? Welcome to episode 9 of the HVAC Uncensored podcast. As always, having fun, feeling good, and sitting alongside my good friend, Mr. Kelly McKay. What is up, brother?
What's up, man? Doing good. It's been a good week. We had some warmer weather move back in, and it's been good. Got some sales. How about you guys? Staying busy?
Yeah, man, it's been pretty good. We're not as busy as far as installs wise as the last time we talked. Still staying steady. We've got a little, it warmed up a little bit. So service has picked up. Installs are just staying like steady. But yeah, I ran out and did a few things today. Like I told you earlier, dealing with some BS calls. They're just trying to get me before I go. Fuckers. They're out for me.
Yeah. That's the thing is service calls. You got to have service calls because service calls will spur sales without question. I mean, we get more sales from service calls than any other lead source, any other thing. So you got to have them, but I get it. You're ready for a vacation, aren't you?
Yes, sir, I am. Everybody, you're going to be listening to this after I'm already gone, but I put something in the group today. I leave Thursday to go on vacation. I'm already fucking checked out. My mind is already sitting on the beach, scratching my balls with a fucking beer in my hand. So my body is just trying to catch up. And it's not for long. We're not doing anything extravagant. You guys know that I live in Maryland, outside of Baltimore. There's Ocean City, Maryland. It's a nice little place. It's not like some tropical resort, but it's a good time to get away. There's a boardwalk and stuff there, all different kinds of things to do. So it'll be nice to get away with the family for a little bit of R&R before the kids go back to school. Just try to finish out the summer. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm sure, and well deserved, because it's been a long summer for most of us, and so it's important that we take time off and spend time with our family, get some of that R&R, and relax. But I know what often happens is when we get ready to take some time off, we end up work your ass off for like the last 2 days before you get to take off and actually go enjoy yourself. So try not to let that happen to you. I know it's going to be tough, but try not to let it happen, because then then you start your vacation being tired, and nobody wants to do that. But oftentimes that's seems to be what happens to me.
Yeah, well, too late, because that's already happening. Like I told you earlier, today everybody was busy. One of the big accounts called in saying he had an issue at one of the banks. I go over there and it was a fucking night. Well, I don't want to say it was a nightmare. It just, I was hoping to go over there, fucking change a capacitor, jiggle a wire, and be good to go, but it ended up not being the case. So it wasn't really that it was hard. It was just time consuming. I had to, I was telling Kelly this before we started recording, that I went over to this bank, and the sad part is it's 2 tandem units that we have already planned on. It's already worked out that we're going to replace these 2 units, or 2 systems, should I say, after the summer ends. So I was just trying to go out there and get it working by any means, because the people in the bank, they start to get a little bit of sweat, and it's like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And it wasn't even that fucking bad in there. But anyway, I go over and I see fucking oil all over the ground. I mean, everywhere. It's the old ream. So you take off the side door, like the cube style, fucking oil all over the cabinet. It's completely out of refrigerant. So I put a little bit of nitrogen in, and I see where the, right behind the suction line where the discharge line had just split. So I'm like, okay. So I was able to repair that. Even though we're going to replace it, I was like, fuck it, I got it open. I'm going to, I put a new filter dryer on it, pull a vacuum, charge it back up. I think it was like almost 9 pounds of R22 this thing took. And yes, I put in R22. I go to get it, start it up. Fucking condenser fan doesn't run. I'm like, please be the capacitor. Please be the capacitor. Check the capacitor. It's supposed to be 5 microfarad, and that motherfucker is 5 microfarads. I'm like, son of a bitch. So, but like I told Kelly earlier, that makes sense, though. With it being kind of warm, condenser fan, motor stops working, and that caused the thing to overheat, and that's why that discharge line got so hot that it fucking burst. So had to end up changing the motor. Got that done, and I realized that was the master unit. I realized the slave was having some hiccups, so I had to, do a little bit of wiring repair on that one. But I was out there for a good little bit, but we got it running. They were happy, and we take care of him as far as price anyway. He gives us so much work, it's not even funny, so we don't charge him retail. So it'll be all good. And then I dealt with some idiots in a fucking Mexican restaurant, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, guys, like Kelly was saying, man, you got to take vacation, man. You got to get that time away from work just to be able to fucking recharge your batteries, man. And me and Kelly already had this talk because me and Kelly recorded last night, but our software took a shit. So now we're just having our same conversation over again. But so maybe we can get it right tonight, Kel. But
it's with a lot more enthusiasm and spunk tonight. So, because damn it, we're gonna get this done.
Yes, we are. I don't care if it's a 15-minute podcast. We're putting something out, motherfucker.
Right.
But yeah, me and Kelly were just talking about vacation and stuff like that, man. And I guess me and Kelly had talked about like at my company, the owner, June, July, August, you can't you can't go on vacation, at least not for a week. If you want to do like a long weekend or a weekend thing, he's cool with that, but he's not letting people go away for a whole week. And I understand that from the business standpoint. I truly do. But then the father in me is like, well, that fucking blows. So my kids have to be punished because of the line of work that I chose. It just, it sucks. It really does. And I know some of the bigger companies probably don't have this problem. It's more of like a medium to smaller company kind of issue. I guess if you guys want to put in the Facebook group, if you guys have this kind of issue, but it definitely sucks. So I know we talked about it, Kelly. I mean, you encourage your guys to go on vacation, which is awesome. But I mean, are you letting them take weeks?
Yeah, no weeks during the busy season. I mean, we all understand that we have to go get this. We have to go make as much money as we possibly can because we're going to have slower months. So yes, extended weekends, absolutely. I encourage it, as long as it's not excessive. A couple times throughout the summer, absolutely. Catch your breath, rest up a little bit so you can hit it again when you get back. So it helps, kind of avoid some burnout. But as far as like missing many days in a row, definitely I'm not going to okay that. Because everyone's going to come to me or my general manager and just say, hey, can I take this time off? And general manager always comes to me and runs that past me. So I know. And so, we can look ahead and see just how busy we're going to be. And that's when it's always nice to have some projections from last year or our new projections this year, but we're basing them off the last couple years. And we kind of can see how much volume we're going to do each year. And that gives you an idea of how much manpower it's going to take, how many hours we're going to have to work. And so it makes it rough when somebody's gone. But, it's also a great team building thing, believe it or not, because when somebody's gone, we all pick up the slack. So we wind up always getting it done. Whatever comes our way, we get it done, and it's good for the team. But yeah, can't miss a lot of work, unfortunately, in our business during the busy times.
Yeah, no, and like I say, the business mind inside of me, I understand it wholeheartedly, and I know why that has to be that way, and like I said, the other part of me is in smaller companies. I mean, I guess technically it should be kind of like a company based decision where like you get, because not every guy is going to be able to go on vacation. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, a lot of guys, everybody wants to take one, but they're not all going to be able to, whether it's financially or whatever reasons they have. Um, so I feel like it's almost like you get a meeting, like, I don't know, like springtime before summer comes, and make guys put in their vacations and get all the guys together. And I mean, they're the ones that are going to be picking the slack up. Like, hey, are we okay? Being able to handle this when Gil's gone this week and, Joe's gone this week. And, and obviously try not to have them back to back to back, but I know that sounds good in theory, but you don't want to be all summer man down per se,
No, but I was going to say, but we're in the HVAC industry. Anything can happen. Just like me. I mean, we could have, there's days where like, okay, we slow down a little bit, we get to catch our breath. And then in literally an hour, we sell 3-4 jobs and, some crisis happens on a service call or something. I mean, the schedule can change drastically just like that. So you never can quite fully prepare for it. But, the bottom line is all you can do is all you can do. This is an old Art Williams saying. He says, all you can do is all you can do. And if you're doing all you can do is enough. I mean, it's something to that degree. And it's true. I mean, so if sometimes we have to reschedule somebody or move the schedule around because we're down a man. And that's just reality. So you just do what you can with what you got and move forward. But I do encourage time off. Everybody needs some time off. It just helps get you refreshed and get you ready to, come back to work and tackle what you're aiming to achieve. And I don't know. We all have whys, right?
Yeah.
We all have big whys. I mean, this is vacation, and spending time with your family and your loved ones. I mean, that's why we come to work every day. So we got to take some time and make sure that happens.
Yeah. Well, some people's whys are bigger than others, if you get what I mean. But,
sure.
But no, you're right. I mean, you gotta, we put all these long hours and everybody's doing it for something, whether you have a wife, you have children, you get boyfriend, I don't know, whatever floats your fucking boat, a dog, a cat. I don't know. Everybody's different, but you have your own particular set. Yeah. You have your own particular set of reasons for, why you go to work every day and why you do what you do. So it's, and for some people, it's not even necessarily going anywhere. It's just taking a vacation and just being home or, just not working pretty much, giving your brain that time off to relax and just be with your family or whatever it is that you're trying to do. And it's definitely awesome. I try to do little weekend outing things throughout the summer, and then try to like do something at the end to like close it out, because I mean, we leave Thursday, come back Monday, and my younger son starts school Tuesday.
Back to school.
Back Wednesday.
Back to school.
Boots tight. Hope I don't get in a fight.
Oh.
Stop looking at me, Schwan. Oh,
sorry. I had to interrupt there. So, but yeah, I just want to say one more thing about when it comes to, just like Gil said, you don't necessarily have to think about shit, but focus and be present with your loved ones. But oftentimes that's what it takes to gain some mental clarity. When you're like in the trenches every day and you're digging, I just did a YouTube video. I haven't posted it yet, but I talk about digging. You're in the trenches and you're digging like a 6-7 foot trench and you're just busy working away and you can't see. You've dug so deep that you can't see outside of the trench. So once in a while you got to stop, get away from the trench, get out of the trench so you can stand up and look around, see where the hell you're at. And sometimes that takes just clearing your mind and not thinking about anything. You'll new ideas, new problem solving, new ways to solve problems will come to you if you just get away for a little while, even if it is at home, just away from your normal working environment. It's so important.
Yeah, man, that's Christ. That is a very, very good statement. I like that because that's 100% fucking true. I mean, and guys, we're getting ready to change seasons here soon. Summer is coming to an end. And we always say it's going to change, in your geographical location when it's actually going to dip off. I know some places are still busier than others, but it's going to come to an end for everybody here sooner or later. So you're going to get into your PM season, your slower time. So you guys need to be creating work for yourself. You need to be, if you have time, if you are getting off a little early, or I don't even want to say early, but say you're only getting your 8, you're not working like overtime. Now's those times you need to do that honey-do list or that stuff at home that you have to do, because when winter comes or, the busy season hits up again, doing changing furnaces or whatever it so be, you want to have all your shit in order so you're ready to go to get busy again. Not, oh, hey, I got to do this, I got to do that. Well, you just had this month or so to be able to get that shit done, so do it then.
Yeah, you don't want to keep the momentum going. You've been used to running hard and heavy. It's not nearly, let's be honest, not that we don't go home and work hard sometimes on chores and whatever the case, but it's not work. And so it's usually a little easier. You're usually in a different frame of mind when you're doing that. So it's good to keep the momentum going, get some stuff done that you haven't had time to do. And some of that stuff requires, some of it's just spending more time with your kids, spending more time with your wife. Take some of this time, put in the work, and I don't mean that in a negative way, like it's work to spend time with your family. I just mean it does take work to be good at anything, right? So put in the work.
No, that's right, man. I mean, and I understand what you're saying. You have to be present. Like, we know how it is. You can be home, but you're not really home. So that's the time that you need to like be home and actually be present.
That's like me all the time. I'll be home, but I'm not home. Like I'm in my own world all the time. Like I'm really guilty of this, and that's why getting away was great timing. We both needed it. I needed to spend time with my wife, like be present with her, and I'm certain you're to that point at this point after a long summer too, Gil. So I'm sure your wife is ready, and you need to make it count, buddy.
Oh yeah, you fucking definitely, man. I'm definitely at that point, and I'm the same thing. I get off work and I get into my own world, and I mean, the other thing is, guys, is doing these podcasts and different things, takes up time, which we signed up for this. We know what we're doing, but it still takes time. So
absolutely.
I definitely want to. I am definitely looking forward to this vacation, just to be with my family and to be with all my kids at one time, and definitely to be able to give my wife some attention, because I do feel like she's the one that gets the brunt end of the deal sometimes. Because when I come home, I mean, yeah, I'll try to make time with my kids and do different things with my girls before they go to bed, or run in and do things with my sons, and then I'll come downstairs and start editing or do something, and I'll just give my wife a kiss and be like, hey, I'll be up later, babe. And she ends up falling asleep before I come back up there. So definitely got to give mama some time while we're on vacation. So definitely got to make up for that, or she might not be happy. But after the whole vacation thing, guys, and we're talking into getting into the, that slow season struggles coming up here. And I'm actually stealing that saying from somebody who put it in the Facebook group, but I like that, slow season struggles.
Yeah.
Because that's going to start to come up, guys. You're going to get into your PM season, and guys, you've got to make those fucking PMs count. You guys don't realize how, and we've talked about PMs till we've been blue in the face, so I'm not going to go in detail, but all I'm going to say is make sure that you are doing what you got to do, offering things, you're actually checking everything, because I know the monotony of PMs, and my guys tell me all the time, it's just so fucking boring doing PMs every day, in and out. Yeah, I get that, but it's a necessary evil and something that we got to do. Uh, like guys will get out there and they'll do the bare minimum. They won't make any recommendations and they'll get their 8 hours, and then they'll go home and they'll start to get lazy, because they just busted their ass for the summer, so they'll start to get lazy for a little bit. And then when you run out of PMs and the weather hasn't dropped off yet, and you wonder why you're going home at fucking noon every day, or we're saying, hey, we ain't got nothing for you today. Well, that's why, we need to be out there generating work for yourself, guys. And if you're the one that's out there putting in the work, generating different things, you're going to get rewarded. Someone's going to see that, and they're going to make sure that you're getting hours over someone else.
Yeah.
That's, I mean,
who do you think?
I can't imagine a company wouldn't do that.
Who do you think's going to get the calls? I mean, when it slows down, if you're the one that's producing the most out of every call because you actually take the blinders off and you look around and find, all the necessary solutions that you can offer on top of some solutions that would, that they might like to have. When you take the time to do that, it just pays huge dividends in all ways. And yes, you're going to get the hours, you're going to get the calls versus somebody who doesn't.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, I know we have a good bit of PMs, and if they're done correctly, and I also understand that we're a weather-based business, so it also depends on where you live and how the weather is, because we've had quite a few bad winters where we didn't really have one. For us, it was like 65, 70 degrees on Christmas, which is like unheard of. I mean, normally we're like snowing on Christmas, or it's like, if it's not snowing, it's fucking cold. But excuse me. The idea, the whole thing is our PMs will last us, and any work generated from our PMs until the weather dips off, until fucking old man winter comes in and we get a couple good snowstorms. One good snowstorm is almost equivalent to like a heat wave, to where, oh, hey, you got a blizzard coming in, you got a foot of snow, everybody's running out buying fucking toilet paper and bread, which, I'm going to stop for a second. I never understood. It's like people are just going to sit home and eat bread and shit the whole time, but I don't know. I know that's always a big one, bread. Bread, toilet paper, and milk. But you get that one good snowstorm, and we get a shitload of work from it. So that's ideal. I mean, if we could have a fucking snowstorm in December, January, that would be perfect for us. How's the weather for you guys? When does winter really start?
It might be. I know there's been like Thanksgivings where it's like 70 degrees outside. So it just depends. I mean, sometimes it's cold by December, late November. Sometimes I remember ice storms that we've had like at the very end of February. But like last year, I don't think we got any snow that ever stuck. Like it would snow for a little bit and then just melt away. Like we had some cold weather and a couple of longer stretches than some previous winters, but it still wasn't great. But I have some of the best memories of snowstorm days. Like I love those days. I love working those days. I don't know why, but it's like instead of driving the van, I'd jump in the truck and it's got 4-wheel drive and come to work. And any of my guys that had 4-wheel drives, they would all bring their trucks in and we'd load up with tools and go out and just play in the snow all day and save the day for a bunch of customers. I don't know I just love those days. So I hope that happens this year, but if it doesn't, it would be like the last 2 or 3 winters we've had. So we're due for a good, hard, lots of precipitation winter. So I hope it happens here in Kansas, but you never know. The weather's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, are you guys known to get like good? I mean, if you get a good winter, you're known to get like a good bit of snow, or like getting a good bit of snow is like kind of like a big deal for you guys?
It's kind of a big deal anymore because it just hasn't happened very often, but it is a big deal. Just I guess anytime it's a pretty big deal because, of course, because we're not used to it. We have a bunch of idiots driving out in the roads. I mean, there'll be wrecks everywhere. That's another fun thing about getting out on those type days because I'm safe. I take my time. I drive slow, and these fuckers are sliding all around me, and it just cracks me up. So I probably see 2 or 3 little minor fender benders a day on those type days. So maybe that's part of why I have so much fun getting out in it. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of sick and twisted, but it's just, if they just slow the fuck down, they wouldn't have any problems, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. People get out there and fucking lose their fucking mind,
Yes.
act like a bunch of retards. That's the only thing, though. It does kind of suck from a business standpoint when you get those kind of storms, though, because it's like, well, fuck, do I let my guys go out on the road, because we have all vans and stuff like that, so we don't have no 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes you got to make that game time decision. Like, is it worth going out today? Is it worth sending the guys out? You know, because all it takes is one truck to get in an accident, and any profit for the week's been gone. You know, it's been taken away.
You know,
so sometimes that decision is kind of,
to me,
iffy.
it's an easy decision, and I'll always be this way, and I don't care who doesn't agree. We're just in the service business, and we got to serve our customers. And you know, I've had to go out, being on call, and we just had like an inch of ice that just fell out, and I jump in my van and drive 15 miles to a call, and I'm going to do it and I'm going to take my time. You know, I'm driving 10 mile an hour, being safe. I know it's never safe when you got a bunch of morons out there sharing the roads with you, but it's just how I feel. And I know there's a lot of people that disagree with that, and I'm sorry. We're going to have to agree to disagree, because I just think we are in the service industry. We are keeping people safe and healthy in their homes. And when something happens and they wind up having no heat, if it's really cold out, you know, it could be, I mean, it's a dangerous situation for them. It's also could be a potential huge risk for them to go all night if it's frigid cold without heat, no matter what the weather is. Just because if pipes burst,
No.
it'd be a problem.
No, and you're right. And that's one thing about us. And I mean, yeah, sometimes we do have to make that call, but normally when we make that call, it's when like we get like, because like sometimes we'll get like 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, and we don't ever get that here.
Yeah, so that's the times that we have to make that kind of call, or we'll have guys start late, wait for the plows to get out and clear the roads, and then, the owner or he'll, take his truck and ride around and be like, all right, it's good, hey, everybody come to the shop, at such and such or something like that, to be smart about it. But yeah, we're the same way. If we can be out, and even if it's, like you said, taking your time and just driving smart, then we're going to be out. Because I agree, there's people out there with no heat, and we need to be there for our customers. We want to be that company that, we hear it all the time. Well, at least it makes us feel good, because customers say, hey, I called 5 people and like, you guys came out that day. I mean, that's that makes you feel awesome, knowing that you went above and beyond to do that for a customer, or now is a long-term customer, because of that one instance where you went out when nobody else would.
Yeah, we'll also do the same. Like if it's really bad that morning, or it's like, let all the morning traffic settle down. Let the people who are out there trying to get to work and are all in a hurry, let them get to work before we'll come in. We've made that call several times.
Yeah, I just tell the guys, I'm gonna head to the strip club. By the time I get out, we should be good to work.
7:30
because you dancers got to dance when
I do not want to see.
Hey, 7:30 is prime time, man.
Yeah, those are probably the ones that I don't want to see.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the ones you pull up, and all the guys who were all yacked up all night coming out, like opening the doors. The first time they saw light, and they're like, "Oh, dude, man, there's a, not to go off topic, but there's a couple of strip clubs. We have what's called Baltimore Street here, which is known for working girls, and they're not the good ones. It's I remember years ago, it was the Larry Flint's Hustler Club opened, and I was working like down. I mean, this is a long time ago,
right?
But
like
we were working at like one of the hospitals.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
kidding.
no. This is probably like 2004 or
Right.
2005.
Sure, sure.
It was like last week, but yeah, we so a bunch of guys were like, "Fuck it, man, let's walk up and check out the new club." Dude, we go in there, and I swear to you, all of the strippers put together couldn't have made a full set of teeth.
Yeah.
Like we were just like, "Ew, is that a C-section scar?"
Right. These
Like,
people are representing Larry Flint.
is
What
something-
the fuck?
Yeah, like you figure with his name, at least they would like bring in some like out of town bitches or something to like start off with some hot chicks. They just found the local
Yep.
crackheads, you know. One's up there scratching her fucking nose off. It's like, ugh. Like put your, I'll give you money to put your clothes back on. Ugh. But anyway, enough with strip clubs.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Kelly?
Hey,
Jesus, why'd you start talking
you're
about
the
strip
one that
clubs?
chose to go off topic.
Oh, was that? Oh, yeah, that was me. My fault. But guys, if you haven't noticed, man, we're just doing like a free for all this podcast, so we're not really gonna do like our segment, so to speak. We're just gonna talk about some random shit, and that's our fucking prerogative.
It's
But
my prerogative.
me and Kelly,
I could do what I want to do.
me and Kelly
Sorry.
have covered, believe it or not,
Sorry.
my prerogative.
I can live my life. My prerogative. Bobby Brown.
Yeah. Bobby Brown, fucking, he can dance, sing, and beat his fucking woman.
May she rest in peace.
He fucking, he ruined fucking Whitney Houston. And one thing that I will say, the best rendition of the national anthem that I have ever heard in my generation is fucking Whitney Houston. I'm sorry, when she sung the national anthem, I forget, I think it was like a football game, a Super Bowl, some shit like that. That was one of the best I've ever heard, man. That was fucking badass.
She's got a powerful voice. Powerful
Yeah,
voice.
definitely. I remember fucking being little,
Getting
fucking
the chills
watching
and shit. Yeah.
watching The Bodyguard. Yeah, her fucking Kevin Costner. I'm like, oh, and then that's like back when like Jungle Fever was like
Right.
in its infancy. It's like, oh my God, did you see that guy and that girl? Like, that's a white guy and a black girl. Like, what's going on? You know? So that was actually like a big deal of a movie to have that in a movie. So, but now we're in 2018 and we got fucking, you know, he, she's and she, he's, and you can be whatever you want to be, you know? It's like the fucking gay army. I don't know.
To each his own. To each his own. whatever floats your boat.
I guess
man.
I'll keep my opinion
Sure you do.
to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. It's all good.
But the whole point of that is we have covered some topics until Kelly rudely interrupted me with fucking a
Yeah.
rendition of Whitney Houston's
It's
My
not Whitney
Prerogative.
Houston. Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown. My boy,
Bobby Brown. I'm
Bobby
sorry.
Brown.
That's how we got onto Whitney Houston.
I like Bobby Brown. I mean, I liked his one album. I had the cassette, you know, that had My Prerogative, and it had 2 or 3 other songs on it that I really liked. I can't remember what they were, but they were good.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Fucking, I'm having a brain fart. What was the original like little boy band that he was in that he
I
got
have
his
no
break?
idea.
I
I don't know if I ever even knew that.
I know there was ABC, which was like another bad creation. Fuck, what was Bobby
I'm
Brown
looking
in?
it up. I'm looking it up.
Now
I'm
that's gonna
looking it up.
fucking ruin me. I'm gonna have to Google that. Yeah,
Bobby Brown boy band. Hopefully something will come up with that.
or even like where he got his start. Because I know
New
he was in
Edition.
one of those little young bands. New Edition, that's it. Fuck, I knew it was one.
Yeah.
One of those younger bands. I was thinking like Belle Biv DeVoe, but he's not Belle Biv or DeVoe.
That was a good cassette tape too.
New
back
Edition.
in the day.
I used to love those fucking, going around with the Walkman, the actual CD player. You had to
Right.
be careful so it didn't skip.
Can't
Or with the tapes, you go out and buy the single.
We used to steal singles all the time. Isn't that horrible? I was like a little klepto when I was a
You
little
fucking
kid.
thief.
And I don't know why. And it's not like my parents didn't. I mean, probably the last time is we went to this like a state park. I can't fucking think of the name of it, but it has like a museum, and we went in and we were looking around, and there's like, like a half an elephant is mounted and like all these cool sculptures, and they had like the shrunken Indian heads and shit. But they also had all over the place like these postcards. And I thought they were free. So I was just going around and picking the pictures that I liked and just folding them up and putting them in my pocket. And we had like 20 postcards, and I'll never forget when I got caught, I got my ass whipped. And that was probably the last time I ever stole anything. And I didn't even realize I was doing anything wrong. But it was like that. If any of you guys have dads that like, well, I'm going to give you something to cry about, that was my dad. I got lots of shit to cry about when I was a kid. So.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, my dad would bust our ass, and if he did, my mom would fuck us up.
No, my mom would say, "You wait till your dad gets home," and then that put the fear into me when she'd say that shit. So
yeah, see, we were always just so scared of our dad that we didn't really he didn't really have to do anything. Just his presence was enough to make you shit your pants. But my mom, she's the one that would just like, she had like the fucking quickest backhand this side of the fucking Mississippi, boy. She'd be talking to her and all of a sudden it'd be like, smack. And you're like, did you just hit me? Like, how the fuck did you smack me that fast? Smack. Like, what the fuck? Like, how are you doing that so fast? Like, you're shocked. It hurts. Like, I don't know how, but, yeah, my mom would lay into us. There's a story that goes around my family about my mom when she beat my brother's ass with a wiffle ball bat. I remember, I'll never forget, it was our room. We were younger, and me and him had bunk beds, and I'm on the lower bunk, and he had did something, and my mom came in with one of those long yellow fucking wiffle ball bats, and he started laughing, and he was laughing out of nervousness. He wasn't laughing because like he was actually laughing at her, but that's how my mom took it. And the more he would laugh, the more she would beat his fucking ass with that wiffle ball bat. And I'm like sitting there like fucking, I'm happy because my brother always picked on me. I'm like, oh yeah, he's getting his ass beat. But then after like 15 minutes, I'm like, fuck, this is getting kind of brutal. Like stop laughing, bro.
Should I call the cops or what the fuck?
Yeah, so we always be at like family events, and like my brother would be like, yeah, remember when mom fucking, child abuse, fucking beat me with the wiffle ball bat? I should have called the police. It's funny as shit.
Gil's like, am I witnessing my first murder?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, this isn't fun anymore.
I know. Surely it's happened to you, but I know there was times where my mom like whipped me or something, and I just start laughing at her because it didn't faze me. But then I got the wait till your dad gets home, and then I was like, I'd straighten my ass up. But anyhow, I don't know how we even fucking got off on this subject. But anyways, that's a free for all.
It's fine. We might talk about some HVAC. Yeah, but we one thing we do want to finish with, guys, and what I originally started talking about before is me and Kelly have actually covered a good bit of generalized topics, but one thing a lot of guys have been asking us about is the whole, trade school versus on-the-job training. So I figured we would sneak that in here at the end. I guess we'll start off is, I'll let you go first, Kel. Did you go to school, or did you just do all on-the-job training?
All on the job. I got married at 19 years old, and that very same month, it was August in 1996. And that very same month, I went to work for my father-in-law and learned everything from the field. I mean, of course, I took classes through the years, lots of classes, but never went to school for it. And, after being in for so long, there were several guys that came out of school. So I've worked with tons of guys that have went to school. And if there's one thing, and once again, I may offend somebody by saying this, probably not though, because we got some cool ass people that listen to us. But, I've seen way too many people come out of school and they just don't know shit. It's sad. And I've also seen, like, I had a guy that I hired that is like bragging to me that he taught at one of the local trade schools here, and he's just a flippin' idiot. So I don't know how this can improve or what can make it change, but I can tell you in my area, and it's not that these guys can't go on to have very successful careers. They absolutely can, because I've seen it. But when they get out of school, it's sad how little they know. So I'm opposed, like I'm against it. I don't think you should start your career off in HVAC, electrical, plumbing, in debt, in financial debt from going to get a loan to go to school. So I personally don't think you should waste your money. But I can also understand it can be really difficult to get your foot in the door without that diploma. But if you don't present yourself well and have a great attitude and stuff, I'm not going to hire you anyways. So if you just came to me with a good attitude and no diploma and I needed you, you're going to have the best shot at getting hired anywhere, in my opinion, as at least come on as an apprentice. So if there's any way, if you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that works in an HVAC company or a plumbing company or an electrical company, that's going to always be your best bet. Get on as an apprentice. Dude, you can learn everything in the field. You don't have to go to school. You'll still be going to classes and stuff to learn particular things about particular units, and you'll get all the knowledge you need. But it's just hard when you start out in debt. So I'm kind of against debt to a certain degree. I mean, I have to leverage debt with my company. I have to, get in debt because I'm not going to burn up all my cash by purchasing a vehicle that we need to operate and to do more business. So I do have to leverage some debt, but it's just that type of debt. It's a tough one for me. So what are your thoughts, Gil?
I agree with some of what you said and disagree with some. Only I did go to school, but to be honest, I learned everything that I know from my dad and the older guys. And the only reason I went to school was because my dad thought it might be good for me. So my dad and my father-in-law helped me go to school, and and I only did well because they made like wagers with me. If I like graduated like top percent, I would get so much money. First in my class, so much money. And I actually ended up graduating first in my class. And to be honest, that is only because I wanted the money. It was because of the wager. The class started off with like 30 people. It was a bunch of people that the government was paying for them to be there, and they end up dropping out. So out of 30 guys, maybe like 12 actually graduated. So I agree that school didn't do shit to me. It didn't do shit for me. I don't think the school was all that great. I also think school is only what you make. You're only going to get out what you want. So if you put in something to it, I do think you can come out with a good base knowledge of things. You learn a lot of practical stuff, but the only thing is, when you come out, you learn a lot of the theory, but sometimes when you come out and get in the field, you got to throw that theory out the window. So I do agree. Okay. My whole thing on going to school is there's a lot of shitty fucking schools out there. And I do agree with what Kelly's saying is guys get into debt. They come out, they still don't know shit. They have trouble finding a job, and they just spent 20 grand for a fucking school. But I have heard there's some really good schools out there where there's some good programs. There's good instructors who know what the fuck they're doing. They're actually teaching guys and girls real world fucking skills that's going to help them in the trade. And these people are coming out and they do know a little bit about a little bit. Granted, they still need to add on to it, but they are doing pretty good. And those guys probably come out making a little bit more than just some regular apprentice. They come out with like, EPA license already. They already have their apprentice card. Their time started because their schooling time starts.
Sure.
But I do agree, though, that if you could find your foot into a door in a company to be able to start off as apprentice and just be that guy going to work every day, being able to work under, somebody knows what they're doing, and just be that, I hate to say it, be that bitch for a couple of years where you're carrying the fucking tools and you're doing all that grunt work, but you're watching the guys that know what they're doing. Hopefully they're showing you things along the way. You're asking questions, you're learning. Because for me, I learned more on the field. Me personally, I'm not a real good read and retain guy. So I am good at, you show me how to do something and I'll remember. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
I've gotten more with books as I've gotten older, but that's how I started. So I agree with you. I do think that schooling is not depending on the school, I do think it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I think you may have had maybe the best answer right there, is that there are some, not schools, but like you can go to like a 2-week course. You can go to, there's courses across the country, and you'd be better off buying a freaking $350 plane ticket and a couple nights at a hotel and paying $2,000 to go to a course than getting in debt 20 grand. So that would be more the way to go. Like, put it on your credit card, put it on your parents' credit card, and just go take a class. Now you have at least a baseline. If you're just determined, like, I got to get some schooling before I can go. But I think we both agree. If you know somebody and you can get your foot in the door, go do it, because that's going to be your best way to learn and to grow your skill.
Well, I mean, and especially nowadays, that man, there's like, and I know me and you are far from being old, but the sad part is we do come from different eras where things were different when we were first getting to the trade. Okay. The internet wasn't like it is now. So you weren't able, there wasn't YouTube. And I do think that YouTube is a good tool. And I will say this, just because guys make YouTube videos doesn't mean they know what they're doing. So I do think YouTube is a good tool. There's a lot of guys out there that are doing things the right way, and you can learn a lot of things, but you need to be able to sift through some things. Okay. I'm going to say that first and foremost, but there's a lot of online programs that you can, like, I forget one that I actually downloaded at one time, and it's like a virtual thing where you can like go click on a furnace and different things like that.
Like Facebook ads for that at once, like a couple years ago or something.
Yeah. It's actually it's pretty neat. And they have it for like, furnaces, air conditioners, boilers, like all kind of stuff. It's good to get some basic knowledge to be able to like quiz yourself. But one thing I will always say, guys, is even when you first get in the trade, you can't go home and just be done. Go home at night, man. Read books, look up stuff. Try to better yourself, man. Those are the guys that advance themselves. And to be honest, and I'm not sitting here toot my own horn, because there's guys way further along in their life and their career than I am. But the fact that I was such a dick off for so fucking long, when I finally got myself straight and I started actually wanting to be better at what I was doing, I realized that I had to work double because I had to make up for lost time. And that's what I would come home, man, fucking read books. I'd watch fucking videos, do all kind of stuff. And that's what propelled me in my career, because I did those little things. And I feel like if I didn't do that, if I didn't put in all that time back then, that I wouldn't be where I am right now. And a lot of luck and placement also got me to where I am. So I'm not going to act like it wasn't. But I just feel like you can't just go home. I guess a good analogy is, like, I tell my son all the time when it comes to sports, I'm like, if you truly want to be good, you can't just go to practice and do what you do at practice and then go home and then not do it again. You need to be working on your craft at home. He needs to be swinging the bat or throwing the football or whatever sport it may be. It's the same thing with us. You need to, when you come home, you need to fucking read a book about some stuff, about wiring schematics, or even if you're bringing home like installation instructions. It's amazing what reading the fucking installation instructions of a system will do, because 95% of guys don't fucking read them. And
ton of information in those.
Yeah, a bunch of my friends who are obviously I'm a Carrier dealer. A bunch of my friends at Carrier who are like tech support guys, they always say that not 90, maybe like 70% of the questions that people call in, they're in the fucking installation instructions. If you just read that, you wouldn't even have to call them. 70% of their calls would be fucking reduced if people just read the fucking manuals they give you.
Read the fucking manual. Do it.
Yeah, it's do it. Just fucking do it. Get to the chopper. Who keeps eating all my goddamn cookies?
Hey, that reminds me. So when I was a teenager, my cousin lived with me. He's like my brother. He's the one that I was telling you about. He's enjoying the podcast. He's a middle school principal, and he can follow what we're talking about. But he'll laugh his ass off when he hears this. But because we always had friends over growing up, and there was like we went, we had a little Pizza Hut not very far from us, so we ate a lot of pizza because we'd get hungry, and we didn't, how it is, you don't want to make shit, so we just order a pizza and go pick it up, and I had purchased a pizza with my money that I worked for, and there was like a couple pieces left, and I get up the next morning and somebody ate my fucking pizza. And I was fucking livid. Like, I was like, who the fuck ate my pizza? And so I told that story to my guys, and they crack up because I was just a hothead when I was younger, man. I was a hothead. I'd get pissed off easily, and so him and my other cousin make fun of me to this day about who the fuck ate my pizza.
I could tell you some of my stories, but I can't because they involve some bad things.
I have a couple of those, but I'm not going to talk about them.
But no, one that I can say is I got a buddy of mine, Big John. I mean, he's like a brother. He moved to Texas, so I mean, we don't talk and see each other as much, but we grew up together. John's fucking 6'8", like 340 pounds. He's a big boy. But this motherfucker can eat regardless. The silverware at his family's houses looks like, we used to call them the clumps. Like their forks look like fucking pitchforks. I could go out and like dig a hole, like a hole in the ground with their spoons. But anyway, we had a whole day, and this is back in the marijuana days and stuff like that. But this is all in what I'd say maybe in like a 6-hour span. We went and we had like grabbed McDonald's or something like that, and he ate like a double quarter pounder with cheese meal, fucking soda, and like a fucking ice cream or something. Then we met up with some people a couple hours later and went to Fuddruckers. Do you guys have Fuddruckers where you are?
No, we don't, but I know Texas has got them for sure.
Oh yeah, so Fuddruckers is like a burger joint where you go and like you can get like, it's like good burgers, you can get big ones. Well, he got the fucking 1 pound burger. Yeah, I mean, he got the 1 pound burger, fucking destroys this thing, fucking milkshake, fries, fucking like finishes off somebody else. We leave there, we get to a buddy's house, we're having like a party over there. He orders a fucking large Domino's fucking thick crust pizza. Eats the whole fucking pizza to himself. Not to mention he's pounded probably like fucking 16 beers in this time frame while we're waiting for the pizza. And then after that, people come over and they're hungry and they call this local sub shop, and he was like, man, get a cheesesteak. I was like, motherfucker, how the fuck can you eat it? This is 6 hours. I'm like, how the fuck can you consume all this food? Like, whether you're fucking fat or not, like, that's a lot of fucking food to put in someone's body. Yeah, and no bullshit. He ate all of it, and like I said, he probably drank a 30-pack of fucking beer that night too.
Yeah.
And
that's like Andre the Giant shit. Andre the Giant. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking madman. He's the same guy fucking you drive past his house and fucking 4 feet of snow, and he's out there in fucking shorts and a cut-off shirt. Fucking with cut-off sleeves.
He's always hot.
Shoveling
always
snow.
Hot, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've all.
It's funny.
Everyone's known.
He's got this. Yeah. That's him. Yeah. Fucking. He's got this. My one buddy Don always makes fun of him. Like, he's got this one like dragon tattoo on his arm that's like badass. It's actually a really cool tattoo. But then he's got this cross on his leg. It looks like a fucking third grader drew it, and he always shows it off. And we're like, dude, that's got to be like the ugliest fucking tattoo ever. Like, it literally looks like somebody, like, I could take my left hand and draw a better cross than what's on his fucking leg.
No regrets.
Oh, shit.
No regrets.
Yeah, no regrets. Oh man.
Well, this is kind of fun. Just being, it's kind of fun. Just being free for all today, and kind of getting away from being so structured, I guess. So, but I do have one final thing that I will say once you're finished talking.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Whatever you want, Kelly. Whatever you want, sir.
Thanks. Thank you. So I just grabbed a notebook. I've got 4 or 5 notebooks and that I have almost filled up with just notes through the years that I've taken, because I'm always this is what I've been doing since I'm 34 years old. I'm 42 now, or gonna be 42 in November. So I've just been studying and trying to learn from all these people. So I don't know where this came from, but I thought it was good for really anybody, but especially for a young business owner. And what I wrote was at the beginning of any success, you have to put in the most time, the most effort, and the most struggle. And I can tell you from experience, it's more about endurance than it is about talent. You're going to develop more skills, and eventually, whatever it is that you're chasing, whatever it is that you want, eventually you'll get it. But you're going to have to do some shit that you hate for a while. And you might have to do that shit that you hate for several years. But here's what I can tell you is you don't play for the glory, you play for the win. And let me tell you why. Because when the day comes and you're at the top, or you've achieved whatever it is that you're going to achieve, whatever you're after, for one thing, you can't believe that you're the best, because if you believe you're the best, you're going to stop playing for the win. And that's what happens to all the bigger businesses around you. Gil's got big businesses around him doing millions and millions and millions of dollars. I have big businesses around me, and I can tell you, I see it. They're not playing for the win. So you new business owners, or younger business owners, or smaller businesses, or whether you're just a service tech and you've made up your mind that you're gonna take this career to the limits. The opportunities are endless. And I think by now, you know why. It's because the big companies in your area, they get fat. They get fat and comfortable. And that's because they're not playing for the win anymore. So they're playing for the glory, and that's why you can overtake them. So always keep your head up. You can always move forward. You can always, it's amazing how much market share a small company can grab quickly, because the fat cats are just too fat, and their guard is down. So whatever it is that you want in life, go get it. I know this is way too serious for the shit that we've been talking about, but I wrote this last night, and I'm like, I gotta tell everybody this. So play for the win. And that's it.
Woo! Touchdown! Yeah, go! No. You're right though, man. That's a really, really good statement, man. I like that, because and I agree with that 100%. That, obviously guys know that I went on my own for a little bit and it failed. And it was because of relationships. It wasn't because of, not knowing, or even business, to be honest. It's kind of bullshit why it failed. But I've seen people go on their own, and it is a struggle. I mean, and I almost compare it to what Kelly was saying. It's almost like being an offensive lineman in football. That's the one position that doesn't get any of the glory. It doesn't get, you don't see a lot of kids like, man, I want to be number 75, man, that offensive tackle. They want to be the quarterback, the running back, the receiver, the defensive back, but without those people, that team wouldn't be as good as they are. You know what I mean? That running back wouldn't rush for 2,000 yards that year without the fat asses up front. And that's what my football coach used to always say. And that kind of makes me think about, with a business, if you're not putting in all that legwork at the beginning and having all those struggles, and then, and it sucks. And there's going to be times that you're going to go through it and be like, man, fuck, why did I do this? This is a fucking stupid idea. But then, like Kelly said, then you get on year 10 and you got a couple employees, and, you're able to sit back and be like, you see all the time you've put in, and you see what you've built, all the hard work you put in. You look back and you reflect and go, fuck, man, this was all worth it. Man, to be at this end game right now, yeah, it is all worth that. Because trust me, we do have some of the big businesses around here that they just
Yeah.
Their whole business model is not very good. You can only bullshit people so long.
I don't know. I mean, Tony Robbins always says the two things that build businesses, I mean, I've heard this for years, is marketing and innovation. So what happens is they may still market quite a bit in your market, and they may not. They may have really scaled down their marketing budget because they are so big and so known, and they got 100 and whatever 90 trucks or 150 trucks rolling through town every day. I mean, that's a lot of advertising. That's virtually free because you're just doing your work every day. But they stop innovating. They've like figured out their processes, their systems, their procedures. They put the work in. I guarantee it. They put the work in through many, many years, got to where they want, but then they quit and everything's the same now. Well, technology is changing so rapidly that these guys are falling behind. They're not. So if this is you, if you're an older guy and you just refuse to go paperless invoice, you refuse to pay better wages or bonuses, and you refuse to, change the way that you deal with customers. I mean, customers have changed drastically. Everything has changed. So if you're not evolving and innovating with your company, the younger, hungrier companies will topple you. And that's what I'm setting out to do myself, is I want to topple these big guys. And I'm not threatening in any way, shape, or form, but I just know that I know, because I've talked to some of them. I know that they're behind the times. And so we have a long ways to grow, and my company a long ways to go. I mean, we're not even close to where we want to be. I've set a goal of like 5 million in revenue at no less than 15% net profit by the end of 2020. And we've never even hit 3 million yet. So it's a huge goal, but I'm working on fixing the things that I need to fix to get there. And that's all we can do, is take a step each day, do the right things. And I know I'll get there, or at least come real damn close. And I'll be pretty happy when I get that close to that. But yeah, these older guys that have owned businesses for 25 years, they're not innovating. So like I said, Gil, when we had talked before about your the owner of the business that you manage, talking about, hey, you guys are going to go paperless. That's absolutely what he has to do. So I'm really happy to hear that, because if you don't, man, it's going to be hard to attract somebody from a different company to come work for you when they've been used to paperless invoicing, and now they got to go back to paper tickets again. Like, nobody wants to do that shit. So you have to continue to innovate to gain, more market share, to keep up with the competition. So that's just business. But yeah, that's all I want to say about that. And that's all I have to say about that.
Are you threatening me? Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and you got to figure, I mean, majority of our customers coming up here are going to be millennials, which are all kids that came up with cell phones in their hands. They're, hey, shut up, Timmy, here, play with the phone, and they want that technology. They don't want a paper ticket. They want you to email it to them. So I agree. And I'm glad that we're finally making that jump. I mean, and plus customers want to see that, customers don't want you coming in and writing that shit down. It makes you look like you're old fashioned. And maybe, 5, 6, 10 years ago, that was all right. But it's 2018 and we're in enough technology now that you need to come off like, we try to be in the forefront of our industry as far as the products we use and the way we run our business. Little things like that come off and they show things. But before I forget one thing, and I'm actually glad you brought it up because it's a story that I want to tell. Last week, I think it was, I had to go to my local, it's a train dealer, Line in Conklin. They had like their like customer appreciation day where they give like food and shit like that, and a bunch of reps
open
are in
house,
there.
Yeah,
and
open house.
Yeah. And there was a rep in there that I talked to for a minute while I was waiting 25 fucking minutes to get my part because it was like a goddamn party. But anyway, the guy he's from Rescue Motors, and he gave me a lot of very good information. He really did. I actually, talked to the owner about it, and we want to bring him in to have like a class to talk about it, because I do think there's some good upsells and things to be able to provide customers with. And I'll talk to you about it off air, because it actually is really, really cool. But one of the statements that he said to me, and I won't say the company's name, but he was like, yeah, man, he's like, this such and such company is out there charging double for the same work that you do, and they're getting it. And I looked at him and I was like, I'm not proud of that. I was like, why are they proud that they're gouging people and charging double for what everybody else is charging it? Like, to me, that's a negative, not a positive. I mean, okay, they can get it, but that doesn't make it okay. I mean, and I know we've talked about pricing and stuff like that, and you definitely have to price to be able to make a profit. But I don't know, when somebody says, oh, this company's out there charging double what everybody else is and they're getting it, like, well, okay, but that, to me, that still doesn't make it right.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like you guys are priced pretty well. I mean, the bottom line is, look, if you've got enough customers coming in, you've got the leads, you're converting those leads, you're selling, upselling, when the time comes, you're getting equipment sales. So, I think ultimately the bottom line is, are you making money or not? But that could also come down to, how much the people are making. Could be that they have to charge double because everybody in their company makes a lot more money than a smaller company can pay their same employees. So it's one of those catch-22s. It's like, I would love to get double what I get for every invoice I do, because I'm going to give that to my guys, and I'll take a raise as well. I'd love to have a raise. So it's like, but you still got to be profitable. You can't just siphon, you can't give it all away. As much as we'd love to give it all away to ourselves and to our coworkers, we can't give it all away. It's we have to continue to reinvest in the business if it's going to continue to grow. So it's just kind of a catch-22. I mean, it really just depends. I don't know what that company's situation is. So I have learned, I won't judge. I used to judge all the time, and then that was before I learned about overhead and all the intricate things that you got to pay for, all the intricate details to make the business work properly. So I didn't know those types of things, and I judged all the time, and I get people still, one of my videos on YouTube is like probably the first year, and it was like, I'm breaking down price invoices, and every fucking week I get some moron on there saying, well, how do you figure 10% is all you're making? Well, it's because you got to understand what your overhead is as a percentage to the total revenue that you're going to do for the year. And it's also just a particular department. It's not the entire company. The entire company's overhead might be 30%, but the service department is going to be higher than 30%. Every single service department out there is higher than 30%. Like, you show me one that has less than that, and there'll be 1 in a million. So it's just, people don't understand.
I agree.
And so I used to criticize all the time. But since I've learned so much about it, I don't anymore, because it's just hard to say, Gil. It's hard to say, man. I mean, whatever your owner draws, let's say your owner's making $120,000. Let's just say, I'm just throwing it out there. Don't tell me what he makes. Well, let's say he makes $120,000. And how long has he been doing it? 25 years?
Well, I mean, he's been in business for 25 years. He's been doing it longer than
that. Excuse me. So, yeah, I mean, think about that. Possibly 35 to 45 years he's been in this industry serving customers. How much does that guy deserve? How much hell did he go through learning the shit that he's learned, building this business, so all of Gil's coworkers can have a job, so you can have a place to drive to, so you can get a new van once in a while? Like, how much shit did he go through? So how much does he deserve? Because if anybody's gonna sit there and say that the guy's been in business he's been doing this, serving customers for 40 years, and the dude doesn't deserve, $175,000 a year, $150,000 a year. I don't know what the number is, but I'm just shooting one out there. Maybe it's 200,000. Does he not deserve that? Is there any one of us that wouldn't like to make that? I mean, really, let's be real here. So if you're still providing a good service, you're still doing what you need to do for the customer, your solid company, I'm not going to judge you, because if you're, and who wouldn't want to pay their employees, $60 an hour? Who wouldn't want to do that? I mean, I'd guess that there's hardly a business owner that listens to us that wouldn't love to pay their people $60 an hour. And the reality is we can't. But is that reality? That is the question.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think my owner deserves as much he can possibly get. He really does. As much he can possibly pay himself, he deserves. And my thing is, and I agree, we do, need to be paid for our time. We need to be paid well as we can be. So, I mean, I get that, and I understand what you're saying. You can't judge and stuff like that. But what gets me is there's a fine line between maximizing profit and gouging, and some of these big companies, they're not paying their guys hourly. They're paying them, scale or, commission, so that when these guys, the only time they're really putting money out is when money's coming in.
Yeah, I mean, we could debate this for a long time, probably, because it's one of those things that it could go both ways. It just depends on what the situation is, I guess. So if they're not paying their employees like top freaking dollar, putting them in nice vans, providing them their tools that they need to do their jobs properly, then yes, that's gouging, because if the owner's sitting back making $250,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 a year, and yet, paying a 15-year guy that's helped him build the business, paying that guy $60,000 a year, I mean, that's fucking wrong. So, but hey, man, we don't know their situation. It's like, let's look at their financials. Yeah.
No, I understand. It's just, I guess sometimes, and I know it takes all to make business go around. I just feel like sometimes those big companies are just like fucking dog and pony shows sometimes. And I know that there's some that are out there good. It's just a lot of the ones that I've seen firsthand, and one that I've worked for, it was just all fucking, it was all a gimmick. And I feel like when I met the owner of that company, and this is a different company than what I was talking about, I feel like his principles were good. Like he means well, but then they try to get so big that it's hard to keep that level of, commitment, integrity. That level of
integrity.
I can't think of the word. Well, yeah, integrity and actually knowing what guys are doing, that it just, I don't know. I think it just leads to bad things sometimes. But I do agree, man. We all need to be paid what we're worth. And obviously, if what guy wouldn't want more money if you can,
and there's always going to be one thing that we can both agree on, is that those big companies, they're not innovating to the same degree that a young hungrier company can. So you have an advantage there for sure, but you still have to charge. You got to charge enough to propel that, put the gas in the tank so it can move.
But all right, guys, we actually made it a minute. We actually made it an hour and 16 minutes, surprisingly, after last night. The fact that I thought this was going to be like a fucking 30-second podcast. But let's go ahead and close this out, my friend. Go ahead, Kel. Take it away, buddy.
Hey, guys, thanks again for listening. Thanks for the support. Hope you enjoyed this free-for-all podcast. I think we still talked about some good topics and a bunch of shit that probably didn't do anything for you, but we had a good time. That's what counts. So, the main thing is, guys, go make money and play for the win.
It's good. I like that. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening, man. We appreciate each and every one of you, man. This thing would never be possible without you guys, the listeners, the viewers. Don't forget, you can check us out on all the major podcast apps. We are on the iTunes podcast app, the Stitcher app. We are on Google Play, which I hear there's still some issues that I'm going to get taken care of. I'm also going to get the podcast on SoundCloud and some of the other apps just to give you guys some more variety. Also, now the podcast is on YouTube, the audio. Me and Kelly are eventually going to try to figure out some video podcasts to put out for you guys, and then obviously content on the YouTube channel. So we thank you guys. Thank you, guys. We would be nothing without you. And don't forget to check out the website that we got up, www.hvacuncensored.com. And if you guys ever want to get in touch with us, you can get us in the Facebook group, or you can email us at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. So, guys, as always, be safe, take care of yourself, and always do what the next guy won't. Set yourself apart. Peace. I'm going on vacation, bitch.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Hey guys, just want to finish the podcast off with some local music, some local bands. You got any local bands out there that want their music played? Hit me up. I love to give them some airtime and just finish out the podcast like that. So take a listen to a local rendition of a local band. Good stuff, man. See you next week. Peace. 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 Peace.
Seem to get to me. I am back with a stolen identity. You know I see through anything. I'm a one-man army with a bitter sting. You give me no reasons. I'm broken to pieces. There's no one who can erase. Stuck inside frame. You know that's why I don't behave the same. Whenever you are here, I see clear, shed a tear. Don't know if I can pretend all the way to the end. You know the truth is hard to. I lost track of what I wanted. Ever since the party started. If there's a way for me and you, then I know just what to do. I know it doesn't matter. I'm broken and I'm shattered. There's no one who can erase. Stuck inside a frame. You know that's why I don't behave the same. Whenever you are here, I see clear, shed a tear. Don't know if I can pretend all the way to the end. You know the truth is hard to bend. You cannot seem to get to me. I am back with a stolen identity. You know I see through anything. I'm a one-man army with a bitter sting.